Welcome to The Catalyst, an exciting and insightful podcast produced by Northeast Iowa Community College. I'm your host, Amy Lasik. Together, we'll explore the people, programs, and partnerships that make Northeast Iowa Community College unique. From student success stories to behind-the-scenes info about athletics, innovation, and industry collaboration, each episode dives deeper into your community's college. Get ready for an inside look at the impact of community-driven education at NICC. Well, hello, and welcome to this very special Halloween-themed edition of The Catalyst. I'm your host, Amy Lasik. I am so excited about today's episode. Today, we're stepping into the shadows, not to scare anybody, but to really understand. We're exploring what lies beyond the ordinary with the founders of the Great River Investigative Paranormal Society, or G.R.I.P.S. They're a team of passionate investigators who seek to honor and remember those who have gone before us, and maybe, just maybe, to hear what they have to say. So before we dive into the mysteries they've uncovered, I want to introduce our guests. First is Linda Frederanich. Got it? Okay. Founder and fearless leader. Well, thank you. Back in 2005, Linda and two friends began to explore the paranormal. The three worked together and would talk and discuss all strange happenings they'd seen on TV or heard through stories by friends or relatives. The more they chatted, the more curious they became.
Mm-hmm.
The show Ghost Hunters, which I know has been a favorite within my family for many years, made them realize average people using common sense, willingness to explore, patience, and openness to adventure could research the paranormal. They started out at cemeteries, their own homes, public parks with history of tragic events, and what they came across only piqued their curiosity even more. So in 2006, they became the Great River Investigative Paranormal Society. Our other guest is Tam McEwen. He's an investigator technician. Tam has always had an interest in getting answers. What happens to our consciousness after the world may be the second most elusive answer to being why we're here. Learning what will happen may help us answer why we're here. Tam approaches everything with an open mind, ready to accept new concepts and ideas while also maintaining a deep-rooted skepticism to add the balance. So welcome to both of you. Really excited to have a conversation with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I know G.R.I.P.S has partnered with NICC in the past. Actually, just a couple weeks ago, you offered a class through NICC at the Masonic Temple in Dubuque. I've heard great things about it. I'd love to learn a little bit more from the both of you on what drew you in initially to paranormal investigation and how that got you to be this team here in Dubuque for, almost 19 years now. So Linda, we'll start with you.
Well, to be quite honest, all my life I've experienced different items that could not be explained. I guess you might say it piqued my curiosity that watching a show like Ghost Hunters gave me the idea that, oh my gosh, I can actually kind of pay attention and maybe communicate in a way that I could prove. Unfortunately, that isn't as easy as it sounds. But and I will admit, it just kind of makes me always want to try to reach into the unknown and maybe get an answer. But I also realize it's going to take some doing.
Yeah, a little bit learning along the way too, I'm
Oh,
sure.
heavens, yes.
Tam, what about you? What got you into this?
Well, I have a very Gnostic soul. So whatever's going on around me, even if it's not around me, I want to know what it is, how it is. And I'm great with believing things and then trying to figure out. I'll believe first, and then I'll try to figure out the meaning behind it. You know, as a child, hey, you got my nose. Okay, great, you got my nose until I can prove you don't. You know.
Right. Right.
And that's the way I approach things. Is if you tell me your story that, you know, you think your cat is still in the house and the cat's been passed for 13 years, I'm going to believe you. I want to come in there. I want to experience what you're experiencing. So I'll start there. But then as things move along, I am going to do my darndest to debunk, find reasons, find excuses, find something that might have caused that shadow to go down those stairs. If I can't, it's even more exciting.
That's awesome. So as I was researching a little bit before talking to you today, one of the things that came across to me in my reading is that you make it very clear that spirits should be treated as live people. So I'm wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, that's because honestly, if there is a spirit, it should be a spirit of somebody who passed and they were a live person in, their past life, and they should not be treated with disrespect. And that's why we kind of treat them. We also understand their personalities also kind of come through. So they might be a pleasant person, or they might be just somebody that has no sense of humor at all, or might be a little vicious. So we try to treat them that way and accept them as a new friend. And that's why we try to even go back to a location multiple times to kind of build a rapport with the spirits. Because, well, sometimes if you meet somebody the first time, you're not sure if you like them or not, don't want to talk to them. And that's kind of how we treat the spirits. We want them to trust us. So if we say we're going to come back or we're going to do this or leave or whatever, we do exactly what we say and give them the confidence that we respect them and we want them to respect us and we want to communicate.
That's fascinating that when you're talking a little bit about how you can get their personality
Oh, yeah.
coming through too. So what is it that you see that can tell you about their personality, or what kind of feeling, or what are you hearing that can tell you a little bit about that person?
Oh, sometimes, it's hard to explain. They join in with what we talk. And one of our techniques, if you will, like when we do an EVP session, which is where you try to get the spirit to speak and we record it, is if we gossip, we get equipment going off like crazy because they want to join in because we're people. So
They want to be a part of it.
yes, it
Yes.
kind of relaxes them enough that they drop their guard and their energy then communicates usually by the equipment. So at times we get, it's so hard to explain. Sometimes we get the giggles and we can't figure out where the giggles are coming from. But I think we're picking up on their energy as they're laughing at us.
Oh, interesting.
If
Yeah.
I'm telling a story to Linda and you can overhear it, and I'm talking about how I witnessed this squirrel taking out this rabbit and just knocking it out of the garden, you're gonna step in and go, "Wait, you said what about a squirrel and a rabbit?" Same thing. We will just sit there if things aren't moving along. We just chat. We
Yes.
talk about the farms. We talk about our jobs. We talk about personal lives. And suddenly things start going off. Stuff begins to happen. These are people. And that's
Yeah.
the basis of our approach. We respect them as people that we don't know, but we might want to become friends with. Okay. So we don't provoke, we engage, and we introduce ourselves, ask permission to be there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do.
So as you look back at the years that you've been doing this, are there any stories that you can share with us that really just stand out to you on either like a really interesting interaction or something that touched you in a certain way that either made you emotional, or just something that our listeners might be interested in hearing about?
Oh, for me, yes. Probably my first real experience, I guess you might call it, where it took me totally by surprise, was when I went to Edinburgh Manor for the first time. And we were getting a tour by Cindy, the owner. We went into this little room and she started to tell us the story of the gentleman that had resided in that room. And I stopped her before she got too far in the story. And I said, "Did he hang himself?" She said, "What?" I said, "Did he hang himself?" She says, "Yes, right where you're standing." I said, "I know. He's hanging above me." It's the first time I seen an apparition.
Oh, wow.
But I was the only one that saw it. So once again, ghost hunting is extremely personal. And the spirit almost handpicks you, whether
Mhm.
they're going to communicate to you or not.
Wow.
And I have to admit that. And I bet you I had been ghost hunting for probably a good 10 years prior to that,
Mhm.
and never had anything like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tam, what
So
about you?
I've had a few. Probably one of my favorite was also at Edinburgh, where we were all upstairs, and we'd done sweeps through the entire building, checked with K2s, looking for hot spots with the electricity, so we don't get false readings later. And suddenly, I had this need to go downstairs to check out the dining room. It was just almost like something was pulling me there. Been down there plenty of times. Nothing happens down there that I've been aware of. Went down and just started snapping photographs. So I had the Nikon out, taking some with the flash, so they were in color, some with the IR function, which was in black and white. And in looking at the photographs, got the color ones, there's nothing there, just a room. The black and white ones, there is an older gentleman sitting in a wheelchair smoking a cigarette and an orderly standing behind him. So I was kind of called into that to take that photograph. And that was really interesting.
Yeah.
It's a great place.
Yeah, I've heard great things. We've driven by it. My kids are very fascinated by that building, and it sounds like they have lots of stories within the walls of that building, with just two of the stories shared here. And that's one of the great things about the Dubuque area. There are lots of really historical, interesting buildings in the area that are rumored to have different type of paranormal activities. The Julian, the Grand Opera House, just to name a couple. Are there other buildings that stick out that you've had experience with?
To be honest with you, spirits can be anywhere, not just a building. It could even be a new building, an old building. It's wherever that, the energy, emotional energy of a spirit resides.
Okay.
And so like I say, it's kind of interesting. It's so many different locations in Dubuque. And we have gone to a lot of places where we were told they are, places not haunted. And we have found spirits that will answer because they probably resided there for years. Nobody acknowledges them. All of a sudden they're being acknowledged and they're more excited. So, and
I
they're
think they're
also more
surprised.
receptive. Yes,
Right.
that somebody actually took them, serious or wanted to find them.
So are spirits attached to a location that they have a connection to at some point? Or like I'm thinking of a family that might move to another state, but a loved one passed away in the original state. Would that spirit stay there, or could they travel?
It's okay if I speak on this one, or
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
start?
I'll let you.
All right. So I think there's a lot of different schools of thought on this. A lot of people believe that spirits can be trapped in a certain location. Often, I think we find that is just residual energy. If nothing else, is because that would be a bit frightening to be trapped someplace. I think that spirits can move along and go wherever they want to go, and you do not have to. Grandpa George, you want to contact him, you don't have to go to Grandpa George's house or his grave. It just seems to me that you can contact Grandpa George anywhere, and psychics and seances, things like that, or if you believe in that gives a bit of proof that you don't have to be in a certain area.
That's very true.
Yeah. So, Linda, I am sure over the years that you've been doing this, you've run into a couple folks that maybe just a little skeptical, have some fear about this, or apprehension regarding that. How do you interact, or how do you converse with people that have a little bit of fear or apprehension?
Well, if they have it in their home, we offer to go there and try to relieve that fear by explaining how the spirits want to be noticed, how you can notice them and communicate to them very basically. If, on the other hand, it's somebody that is curious but doesn't want us, or doesn't have a place for us to go to investigate, we actually invite them possibly to go with us on an investigation. And usually then people, we go to someplace what we deem safe, someplace that we kind of already have built a rapport with the spirits, that they will try to communicate with us. And usually most people end up being members of G.R.I.P.S, even if it's only temporary, because we do have a policy. You can kind of come and go because life gets in the way.
Sure.
And so as long as you leave on a good standing, you're welcome back anytime.
That's great. Tam, and it was interesting when you were talking a little bit about your personality of you believe and then you try to debunk along the way. And I'm sure you've run into skeptics along the way where they're kind of the flip side of that. They're like, prove it to me. So how do you handle that
Yes.
skepticism piece?
Oh, I don't care. I really don't. I mean, if you want to believe or if you don't want to believe, that is entirely up to you. It doesn't offend me in any way. So no, I'm not here to convince anybody or change anyone's
That's
mind.
true.
If you're looking for assistance, we come in with empathy. Okay, so if someone says, "Hey, this is scary," there's creaky floors, there's something going on in my house, well, then we try to help them figure out together. So we join with whoever has the issue, whoever has the question. We try to join with them rather than we're not there to teach them. We're not there to convince them or change their minds. We just want to be there with them.
That's great. That's great. So can you help those of us who have not been a part of an investigation visually? What does that look like? There's a lot of equipment involved, it sounds like, but it also sounds like a big part of this is human intuition. Tam, when you were talking about, I felt like I had to go to that dining room. So could each of you maybe spend a little time in telling us, what does it look like? What can somebody expect?
Well, the first thing we tell you that a ghost experience of any kind is really personal, and that you yourself are the best piece of equipment you have. Because your brain acts as like a EMF reader, because you can pick up on that energy. That's why sometimes you feel like somebody might be watching you, or there might be somebody standing behind you when there's nobody, is because your brain is regulating or letting you know about that energy. But when we go to an investigation too, I will ask questions and find out what you're experiencing. So I know ahead what's going on as far as what's making you maybe nervous or what you have questions on. The rest of the team will come in not knowing much more than just the location, and they will do a sweep with the equipment. And then we will start, as we go through, I might mention, oh, she says this door comes open. Well, then we might get out a level and check the door. One person stand on one side, might stomp and see if the vibration will get the door moving. I mean, we try to debunk before we just accept everything, because most people some people will just assume it's paranormal if it kind of freaks them out, whether it's them off guard or they were just tired and something happened, rather than look at the big picture that maybe it was just not latched and a truck went by, something like that.
Sure.
We're trying to debunk. And then if we do find there's something that we can't explain, that's when the communication comes into play, that we try to show them how to acknowledge what's going on and to communicate. So they're less nervous, because if they're realizing is just somebody there that they can talk to, it makes them feel more like they're in control, because they know how to communicate as well.
That's great. And Tam, from your perspective, what else can you share about what these look like?
Well, when we go in, if they say, if, for instance, we use the door is opening on its own, well, we can believe them that the door is opening and that no one is touching that door. We could acknowledge that and believe them. We're there with them, for them. But yes, then we start figuring out why it happened. And it's the why that matters probably more than anything. Facts help people out of fear. So, technology is not our group's backbone at all. I mean, it's more of the backup singer. Okay. They're just, technology's back there. It's, you got your EMF meters, your spirit boxes, your SLLs, all that kind of stuff. They're useful, but only to confirm what we're already experiencing and feeling. So if it's like with the camera, okay, I felt something, I went down, the camera confirmed what I was feeling. So that is, whether you want to accept that those images are there, I mean, this isn't in the case of my photograph, it's very much not, I don't believe, pareidolia, because anyone that looks at it usually sees what we're seeing in that photograph. But sometimes you get things that, oh, that looks like a face over there. Well, that's a tree in the background. That would be a 130-foot face. So that would be a little weird. But you have to look at the evidence and figure things out. And when you let people feel and touch things, when they hold the equipment and they see the lights go off, the fear really dissipates.
Oh, that's when
that's
the
kind of the point of
fascination.
this. Yes.
That's when it becomes fascinating then. That starts happening. Yeah. Interesting. So
common sense reigns in this. If a cold spot lines up with a draft, we don't go chasing ghosts. We close the window.
That's so true. A big part of this would be the common sense piece and trying to figure out if there are other factors. One of the questions that I've heard a lot is there a difference between doing an investigation during the day or at night? Is there a difference there?
No, I mean,
yes.
Well, you say yes, I say no.
Noise is the only difference.
Yeah, because at 3 in the morning, there's no wash machines going. The traffic is quieter. Even dogs are sleeping. So yes, you can hear better.
Gotcha.
But if you're really paying attention at noon, because that's the only time you can be at a location, then you just have to rule out when you hear the truck goes by or the dog's barking at a squirrel or somebody's got the spin cycle going down below you, in the basement. You just have to take those factors into consideration. But spirits are actually 24/7.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you, Tam, what do you feel like is the biggest misconception about being a paranormal investigator?
Oh, that's I would say that most of the time they figure we're a bunch of thrill hunters and thrill seekers, and we're out. If you watch those goofy television shows, so many of them are all about, showmanship, and we're actually down doing the nitty-gritty and trying to figure things out and gather evidence and expand our own knowledge versus, all the woo-woo showmanship that some of these shows have. You don't walk into a place and within 30 minutes, start, finish, and end, or an hour, whatever those shows are, and have all this happen. It's not the way it works. I mean, sometimes we have to go back and forth to places 3, 4, 5 times before we start to create that rapport, before the energies start to align, if you want to go for it that way. Gotcha. It's not exciting for the most part. A lot of it's very long hours, and so many times you come home with nothing.
Yeah. And Linda, you mentioned earlier that individuals can become members of G.R.I.P.S. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. One, we like almost anyone who has a view on the paranormal, whether it varies from my personal view or Tam's or whoever, because we like diversity. We also will take, since we do not provoke, we will take younger members as long as their parents are also members, because we've had people maybe about 14 join us. And it's really kind of fun because they have a lot more energy. Like, I'm a little bit up there in age, so my energy level for the spirits to use may not be as inviting as you get a 16-year-old that is laughing and having a good time. That gives a lot of positive energy to the spirits. So we do kind of wish anybody who wants to try the paranormal, that's why we do a class with NICC to show them, one, how you can get the energy up there, and it can draw spirits, and that's where you get your communication or your chance to communicate. And it does open one's eyes that it just takes energy and willingness to try.
That's great. And so if somebody's interested, you do have a website, gripsghosthunt.com. Individuals can go out there, learn a little bit more, and then connect with you that way to see if they want to be members.
It's one of those things where we welcome anybody to come and join us at least to a meeting to see if we kind of connect. We've had times where we will rent a location just for training
Mm-hmm.
because we want to see how a person reacts. Because when you're in a room with a bunch of strangers in the dark, it can be a little frightening by itself.
Sure.
And that's why we kind of train what we know works for us, which is non-provoking, being patient, and just willing to sit and see what happens.
If you're willing, I have a short little game for us to play. It's called
Ooh.
Haunt or Hoax. I'm going to read a comment. We'll alternate between the two of you, and if the statement is true, it would be a haunt. If the statement is false, it's a hoax.
Okay.
Tam, we'll start with you. Cold
Oh, great.
spots. Yeah, cold spots mean a spirit is nearby. Is that a haunt or a hoax?
That's insufficient evidence.
I'm
So a
thinking
little both.
I'm thinking trick question.
I cannot commit to a yes or no answer on that one. That is just simply insufficient evidence.
All right,
Close that window.
We'll say that's a little of both. Linda, what about spirits can drain batteries and electronic devices?
Oh, that's a haunt.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Have you seen that quite a bit?
Oh, yes. One location, I think I changed the batteries in my simple camera about 3 times in less than maybe 20 minutes.
Wow.
And
I think if there's one thing I'm hearing a lot is energy.
oh, yes.
Whether it's batteries or just feelings, I'm hearing a lot of that throughout all the conversations we've had so far. That's so
Well,
interesting.
a good example would be like, once again, in Burl Manor, honestly, we can tell when the spirits are done with us because the energy is just high for everybody and then it just goes flat. So you can tell when they say we've had enough for tonight or for today or whenever, and you can tell.
Done. All right, Sam, how
And
about
they take a lot from us too. So I believe that when we're burnt out, they start feeling burnt out.
you feel it too? Back and forth. All right, so Tam, cemeteries are the most haunted places. Is that haunt or hoax?
I would say that is hoax. Absolutely, 100% hoax. Your bathroom is probably the most haunted place if you want to consider cemeteries a haunted place. Just because spirits are everywhere. I mean, they are everywhere. They can be anywhere, everywhere. So, no, I don't think there is a most haunted place or location.
No.
Great, thank you. And then Linda, only people with special sensitivity can see spirits.
Oh, that's a hoax because anybody can see a spirit. If the spirit wants you to see them, you'll see them.
Great. Tam, what about this one? Spirits can communicate through dreams.
Ooh, wow, that's a good one. I would say that is definitely plausible.
So possible
There's been
haunt.
too many. Yes, there's been too much with that to ignore it, where people will have the dream with a family member or somebody they don't know, and it's a warning of almost a premonition. So it's either a haunt, a spirit, or hey, they're just psychic and know what's going to happen.
Interesting. All right, so Linda, animals, especially cats, can sense ghosts.
That would be, I would say, a haunt because most animals do have extra perception, whether it be a cat or a dog. They know when there's something different that we can't see, but they know it's there.
Yeah, they seem to have a different sense.
Mm.
Yeah. Tam, full moons increase paranormal activity.
Full moons increase a lot of things. So, I mean, you watch the ER, you watch, so much that likes to happen on a full moon. The full moon affects the oceans. It affects the tides. A lot of times it affects your cycles. So why wouldn't it provide a different state of mind or a different energy within yourself to feel or, react I could say yes.
Yes, that's a
Yes,
haunt.
absolutely.
Great. And Linda, our very last one, using a Ouija board opens a portal that you cannot close.
All right, now that's open for debate because technically, I guess you could, it does open a portal, but if it's done correctly, you can close it. So I guess
Okay.
saying it can't close it would be considered a hoax, but it can open that portal that, well, you might have trouble with.
So just know what you're doing.
Yes, and take it serious.
Great. Well, we
And
are.
keep in mind that Ouija board is made by Parker Brothers.
Good point, Tam. Good point. This has really been fascinating. I feel like I can talk to the both of you for a lot longer than 30 minutes, but I do want to thank the both of you for joining us for this special Halloween episode of The Catalyst. And I do want to encourage our listeners to keep an eye out for NICC's paranormal classes. I'm sure we will be inviting groups back to partner with us because we've heard really great things about the classes that we offer through our business and community solutions. So thank you for partnering with us. And you can definitely check them out at their website as well to see if this might be something you'd be interested in. So their website is gripsghosthunt.com. And our website for potential classes is www.nicc.edu/solutions. Tam and Linda, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you very much.
Happy
Great.
Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Yes.
Yes.
And thank
Samhain.
all of you. Yeah. Thank all of you for tuning in to The Catalyst. We hope you'll join us next time as we continue to share the stories of Northeast Iowa Community College and our community. See you next time. Thanks for joining us on this episode of The Catalyst. If you enjoyed the conversation, make sure to follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. Want to learn more about NICC and the many ways we support our students, partners, and community? Visit nicc.edu for more resources and upcoming opportunities. This podcast is produced by Northeast Iowa Community College and hosted by me, Amy Lasik, with executive producer Tessa Hill, producer Travis Hunt, and graphic designer Ashley Conzen.